Hello, my name is Chris Tabb with Outreach Programs at Texas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired, and today we're talking about the Sunu band for orientation mobility specialists to be used working with clients and learners of all ages. And we'll start with addressing expectations. I'm going to go ahead and read the slides just in case to make them accessible, and then we'll fill in some details in between as well. The first part in using any technology is ensuring that you and your learners have reasonable expectations about what the technology can really do. And so that's where we're going to begin. We'll talk about what it is and how we go about using it, making sure we're understanding what this device is capable of. So what is it? Sunu band is a sonic device worn on the wrist. This technology is similar to the MOAT sensor and the mini guide, which were sonic devices from previous years, but it also has other features on the device itself, as well as in an app it pairs with. So if you have a smartphone, an Android or an iPhone, you can download the app for Sunu, and it has some features that will work without the band, but certainly there are much greater and richer features when you pair the band with the app. Among other features, it offers a haptic watch. That's a watch that you can feel on your wrist so that if you are not able to use a visual watch, you can feel those vibro-tactile indicators on your wrist to let you know what time it is by the number of hours and the number of minutes. It has a talking compass and a street pointer. When paired with the app on your smartphone, it can announce those things to you through the voice service. What can Sunu band reasonably do? It can locate waist level to head level obstacles. It can add information about environmental details for landmarks while traveling. This might be if you're in an area that you're traveling in often, you may be suddenly aware that there are a line of trees because you're getting that vibro-tactile feedback from the device, things that you may not have noticed otherwise. It can help to identify openings or gaps, such as doorways and intersecting hallways. Those could be doorways boarding a bus, they could be doorways in a building, and certainly intersecting hallways at schools, medical offices, all sorts of different things. What can it reasonably not do? Any device, whether it's the cane, a dog, Sunu band, or anything else, cannot keep us totally safe. We can't rely on any device to do that. Some devices are what we call a primary mobility aid. They are basically a go or a no-go device. They tell us where it's safe to proceed. That would be a cane or a dog. The Sunu band isn't going to be monitoring the ground for us, so it doesn't have the ability to find those things for us. It can't find obstacles that are below waist height, can't identify drop-offs. So if you're hoping that this device will help you with stairs, about the most that it could find is maybe the railing. But the stairs themselves, as they're going down, it won't be able to pick up on those because the angle of that sonic beam is from your waist level up. Who's it for? This is for confident cane and dog travelers. And the reason I'm saying confident is just as a new driver, we wouldn't want to put a smartphone in their hand while they're driving because we need them to be paying attention to the brake and the gas pedal and what's out in front of them. The same is true with any technology or any additional device that we add to a traveler. As the learner is still developing their skills, it would be very difficult for them to focus on the dangers of something like a drop-off while also ignoring the information from the device. So those with the ability to use selective attention, most importantly to remember that the information from their cane or dog is the primary information to attend to, and those with hearing loss to add echolocation ability. So if someone has a dual sensory loss, they may not be able to hear either through passive echolocation or active echolocation the sound reflected from things, various items in their environment, such as a bus shelter. But by using Sunu band, it can add to that. If you do have some hearing loss, you may have more functionality in the concept of echolocation than without the device. So how do I learn to use Sunu band? You want to commit, you and your learner, commit time to learning by going through the tutorials in the app. And when we get to the videos with the apps, there'll be some information there about the Sunu Academy, and that's just built into the device, or excuse me, into the app, so that you don't have to download anything extra once you have the app. And it will pair with the phone and the band, so that you'll be able to interact with the band, and the app or the tutorial will know what you're doing based on your button presses or interaction with the band. Practice with some real-world trials that will come up in a few slides here, talking about ways that you can practice understanding how the device works. And use the device regularly so that you remember what each of the buttons do, how to access features using the touchpad. All of those things are easily forgotten if we put it away for a month or two until we develop a really good understanding of how this device works. So some learning activities. You can practice walking toward or away from a wall. The wall is a great solid surface. We know we're going to have that energy beam from the sonic device pick up the wall. And by backing up, we can tell at what point it recognizes the wall, because that signal will drop off. So let's say that we start really close to the wall and we back up until that vibration disappears. We know that's kind of its maximum sensing range. As we get closer, the vibration will start in a intermittent fashion. As we get really close, it will be persistent, so that we have a constant vibration. So beginning to understand, how close do I have to be before it picks up on an object? The other activities here: locate head level obstacles such as tree branches or awnings. It's one thing to do that while we're standing still. It's another thing to do that while we're in motion or dynamic. So practicing both finding head level obstacles while we are standing still or stationary, and then also while we're traveling with a cane or with a dog, so that we get the sense of, as my arms are going side to side, and as I'm in a natural walking pattern, what's it going to feel like when I find a head level obstacle, so that I can practice recognizing from the band and also interpreting information from my cane or my dog. We can use the Sunu band to find poles at a corner, so we can street signs or pedestrian controls as we get close to find the APS. Sometimes the APS has an audible signal to help us to find it, a locator tone, but sometimes not. And the Sunu band in that case would really help us to find what we're looking for, so to speak, in order to activate that accessible pedestrian signal. More activities here. We've got locating bus shelters or a bus stop sign. The bus shelter and the bus stop sign are traditionally not making noise, and so the Sunu band can help us with its sonic ability to find those stationary objects. Walking along a hallway, scanning, looking for openings of intersecting hallways, so we can turn our wrist from side to side a little bit. We'll talk in a later slide about different ways to use the Sunu band for this as well. We can use the built-in compass and street pointer. You can practice doing this in familiar areas so that you already know which way north, south, east, and west are, or what the nearby streets are. And we can also go to unfamiliar areas to see how we do there as well. So some alternate ways of using the Sunu band than a traditional strapped on the wrist approach is to hold the device in our hand. It gives us a little bit more flexibility on where we point it. So let's say I'm walking along a hallway and I really want to know what is on my left-hand side. If I'm on the right-hand side of the hallway, I could hold it in my hand and point it across my body. Just like a flashlight, wherever I point it, that's where the information is going to come from. And it might be really awkward to hold my arm across my body rather than just angling it in that direction. So you may find that in some circumstances, taking that band off and holding it in your hand might give you a little bit of flexibility. You can hold it in your hand and aim the sonar sensor angled slightly down, as though shining a flashlight where you're walking, for some lower level obstacle detection. Again, if it's on your wrist, it will have a natural upward angle because of the position of the wrist and the sonic sensor on the end. But if you hold it in your hand, you can angle it down a little bit if you're using that to find, let's say you're on a hiking trail and you're looking for large boulders that indicate, let's say, the entrance to a camping area. That might be a way to find things that are at a lower level by removing it from your wrist and angling in that direction. So if you have any questions as you go through this video and the accompanying videos, there is an email address, tabc@tsbvi.edu, T as in Tom, A as in Apple, B as in boy, B as in boy, C as in Charlie, @tsbvi.edu for Texas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And happy to respond in any way to be able to help you and your learners to incorporate this device. And there'll be some more videos coming up with some focus on using the band and the app.